In this activity, we'll be working with our Y-intercept equation. So we're going to review once again the different parts of our Y-intercept equation. So in previous lessons, we learned how to work with identifying our slope and our Y-intercept. So our slope is the part that is attached to the x. So in this situation, our slope is negative 1/4. That's our rise and our run. And our Y-intercept was at negative 7. So in a previous lesson, we went through and actually learned how to graph this equation. Today, we're going to be working on a little bit of the opposite, where we're going to be learning how to write an equation from a given line. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start off pretty basic. Okay, so here is our first part of our activity. We're given 3 lines. All of these lines appear to be vertical, or parallel to each other, but we're going to go ahead and check the slope and the Y-intercept. In a previous lesson, we learned that in order for 2 lines to be parallel, they have to have identical slopes. So we're going to practice now going through and finding the slope of a line when we're not given 2 points, okay? So first of all, we're going to go ahead and identify both our slope and our Y-intercept. So I start with the Y-intercept. 2 reasons. One, that's usually when we start graphing where we begin. And second of all, it's the fastest part to find. So we're going to go ahead and identify these as A, B, and C because they're not labeled. Okay, so that way you know which line I'm working with. So if I look at my line A, it crosses right here. And that would be at positive 4. So my Y-intercept is positive 4. My B line is crossing right here. Once again, that's not identified, but it is between the 0 mark and the 2. So that would be at positive 1. And our C line is crossing on the line below the negative 1, which would be negative 2. So our Y-intercept is negative 2. Once again, Y-intercept is really quick to find at this point in our learning. Now we're going to go through and we're going to identify our slope with each line. So when we identify our slope, in previous lessons, they guys gave us 2 points where they would show us 2 points on the line. We're going to have to go through and now identify those 2 points. Once we have our Y-intercept identified, I tend to then follow that line until I see where it crosses at a corner of one of my grid marks, okay? So if I follow my A line, it doesn't cross here, but it does cross right here. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and I'll count my rise and my run, and I like to go ahead and identify it by doing my little triangle. My rise is 1, my run is 2, and that is going up from left to right. So that would be a positive 1/2. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and check on our B line. So once again, not crossing a line, but it is crossing a corner right there. So we're going to go ahead and count our rise and our run between those two. So our rise is a 1, our run is 2. Once again, it is a positive slope because it's going up from left to right, so that would be 1/2. Positive. And the last one, I'll even go through and show you on this one just to point something out, that if I were to pick a different point, let's say I didn't see the first point, but I notice here it crosses on a corner. If I check my rise and my rise is 2, my run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice 2/4 would be the same as 1/2. Okay, because there really was another point there that I just didn't identify right away. Okay, so you can pick any 2 points on a line and they'll still give you the same slope. So if we notice here, what is the same about all of these lines? Well, they all have the same slope. And as I said earlier, we had practiced this in a previous lesson, so hopefully that was something that you were already comfortable with. Once again, our Y-intercepts changed because our lines changed where they were crossing the Y line. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try another one. This time, instead of having parallel lines, going to work with some intersecting lines. And I believe this matches your letter D in your practice journal. I'm not 100% sure. It's either C or D. Okay, so if I go through, once again, I like to do my Y-intercept first because it's something that's very quick. So I'm going to go ahead and label these. We'll do this one as A, this one is B, and this one is C. Okay, if you do them in a different order, that's okay, as long as we have the same situations. So now I like to do my Y-intercept, and I'm noticing that they are all intersecting at the same point. So that point is 0, 0. So our Y-intercept, well, on our Y line, that is at point 0. Okay, so all of these cross at 0. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my slope. So that point that I have there that's in red, I'm going to go ahead and use for each of these. So if I follow my A line going up, looks like it crosses on a corner right there. So my rise is 1, my run is 1, and that is going down from left to right. So that's a negative 1 over 1, which is the same as negative 1. Okay, so I get a negative 1 slope there. Okay, so my B, once again, it intersects there. And if I follow my B, it doesn't matter if I follow to the left or the right. So this time I'll follow it going downward left. Looks like right here it crosses at a line. So our rise is 1. Our run is 1, 2, 3. And that's going up from left to right. Even though I worked backwards, it doesn't matter. The line itself is a positive line of 1 over 3. And now I'll go ahead and do my green. And my C line, well, there's the middle, and it looks like it crosses at the first corner right there. My rise is 2, my run is 1, which would be 2 over 1 or 2. Whoops. And that is going up from left to right, so that is a positive. So we only ended up with one negative line here. In this situation, what do they all have in common? They all have the Y-intercept of 0. Okay, so that's what they all have in common. That's it for this part of the activity. Good luck and continue on finishing up the last two.